Hello and welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I have put out a video, but I thought that this weekend, while I am preparing a new bulletin board to put up in my school, I thought I would take you all along with me for that ride and journey. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, Influencer. The bulletin board that I am putting up is the A-Team bulletin board, which is all about Canadian musicians. So I'm pretty excited about that since I just right now put it in my store and it's uploaded and ready to go. The first thing that I'm going to do is start printing it out. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I like to test out all of my bulletin boards before I put them out there. This one I feel pretty good about, so it's easy, but any of my resources, I usually test them out either with my students or I print them out and put them up to see what they look like. That's kind of what I'm doing today so that I can talk about it on Instagram, but the first step is kind of doing all of the prep work before putting up the bulletin board. So I already know which board in my school that I'm going to be putting this up on, and it already has paper and borders and everything, which is perfect because I'm not about putting new paper up every single time. A pro tip is to use a neutral paper so that any of your bulletin boards will match and you don't have to replace the paper every time because no one has time for that. So yes, the first step will be printing it out, and I do have a Cricut, so I could do the letters on the Cricut, but again, for all intensive purposes of trying this out before promoting it on my store and stuff, I want to print it out and cut it out just so I can see what the proportions are like with the letters and all of the posters. If you have never downloaded any of my kind of bulletin boards or resources before, they all download usually as a PDF unless it's a zip file with multiple things, but this bulletin board is in a PDF file, so pretty easy to just download and print right away. And usually when I do printing, I like to do the posters and the letters on cardstock. It just helps it last a little bit longer. I will also end up laminating the pages and the letters as well, which I'll show you guys as I go through this process. But I just find printing on cardstock, it does make it a little bit thicker. You can hear that's some thick paper, and it just makes it last longer. Anything that I make, I laminate, and then that way I can save it for future years when I put bulletin boards back up, because I do end up using some of the same bulletin boards just depending on what's happening in school or what's happening throughout my program or kind of during the school year, holidays and things that come up. This one in particular was important for me to create and put up because I find that my students in anything that we're doing can make a greater connection to someone who's Canadian. And although that may not seem like a big deal, here in Canada, we are fully absorbed in all things American, which I think is just natural being someone who lives in North America, on this continent. But I really do try to strive and find the Canadian aspects where I can. And this one was especially important to me because in Canada, we have two national languages, one being English and one being French. And our students learn French in school and all that jazz. But there is a different music genre for all of our francophone singers and songwriters and musicians. And although maybe if you're not a native French speaker, you might not be listening to them all the time, we do have our province of Quebec that they speak French as their primary language a lot of the time. So it's important for me to not only include our English and our francophone musicians, but also our Indigenous voices as well. It is really important for me to put a spotlight on some of those Indigenous musicians because Indigenous music and Indigenous culture is Canadian culture. They are the people who have allowed us to live and use and work on their land. So this is my way to honor the Indigenous people of Canada and kind of showcase some of their musicians who also bring forth their own individual, Indigenous culture or traditions or dress through their music. And so I am super excited about this. There's also going to be a resource going along with this. So I didn't want to put them together because I felt like that was a lot, but kind of this is just the bulletin board. And then I'm working on making a kind of music Canadian researchy type thing so that other Canadian music teachers, or even if you're just a teacher and you wanted to teach your students about Canadian musicians, you have some great options out there. And if you are not Canadian, I mean, I think that this is just something really cool to maybe look at and maybe learn more about Canadian musicians. There are a lot of them out there, but in mainstream media, I think your top kind of Canadian musicians that you might know about are The Weeknd, Drake, and current ones like Celine Dion is still pretty big, as well as right now Alessia Cara and Nav. Those are kind of a lot of the bigger names you might know, you know, from the 90s. Alanis Morissette was really popular, and Sarah McLachlan, and you know, those are kind of the same few names. Shania Twain is another one, but there are so many great upcoming artists. Did I say Shawn Mendes? No, I didn't, but Shawn Mendes is also Canadian. There's like a handful in the top like 100 charts that are Canadian, and so I think it's important to show our students that, you know, the market has a space for everyone, and if you're Canadian and you wanted to become, you know, famous, you can do it, right? People like Alessia Cara and Shawn Mendes, they started off by posting videos onto YouTube, and they kind of got discovered from there. Anything's possible when you dream. Let's get to the actual printing and preparing of the bulletin board. I'm super excited. Today is Saturday, just so you know. It won't go up until Monday, obviously at school. I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna get to the printing today because I might have to borrow my parents' printer. Printing and laminating have to go first before I can even put them up at school, so let's get into it. I hope that whole ramble about Canadian musicians and the importance of honoring all of our different types of Canadian musicians made sense. Hello again. We are on a completely different day because it's just been taking me some time to get this bulletin board together. Not because it's hard, just timing wise. And this morning I went to school and I had major goals, but there was a lot of snow. It was a really long drive in, and you know, just with so much to do, bulletin board kind of last on my list. So I'm hoping to get it done tomorrow. Super easy though. I have already printed, I'm gonna just show you all of the pages. They look so good. There's Justin Bieber, and who do we got here? Oh, Buffy St. Marie. The backgrounds are a little bit darker than what I wanted on my computer, the way I saw it kind of thing. So I might update it just with a little bit of a lighter background because I wanted them to be like cranberry reds, but these are like cranberry merlot. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's again reason why that I like to test things out myself before putting them out in the world, because I just want to make sure like it's all good and it looks the way I want it to look. So first things first is to prep all of these bad boys in laminating sheets so I can then laminate them and keep them forever. Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate like how long my hair has gotten? Like, you know, okay, it looks kind of messed up right now. It's not actually nice because I bought a new hair thing, but anyway, it's just getting really long and I'm not mad at it. I like it. So, you know, pandemic hair, you just gotta grow it out. There's no haircuts. In case you're wondering, the laminating sheets I use are the Amazon Basics one. I used to use the Scotch ones, and yes, they are thicker and better, I guess. They are just way too expensive. And so I end up buying, this is the 200 pack, because I will keep 100 at home and then I take 100 to school. And now I always have enough laminated sheets wherever I am. Also, in case you're wondering, I chose 10 pictures so far, plus the lettering and the decals, of course. So I'm hoping 10 will be enough for my bulletin board because it is quite large, but I might have to print out 1 or 2 more, but I thought 10 was safe. And of course, make sure that you're choosing from all of the categories. You've got some English singers, you've got some BIPOC singers, you've got Francophone singers and Indigenous singers all up in there to show what Canadian musicianship is. Also, let's talk about letters. So again, if you have a Cricut, you could totally do this on your Cricut and just cut out the letters that you want in a font that you want. But sometimes, number one, I'm lazy because printing somehow is easier than pulling out my entire machine. But two, like I've mentioned many times in this video, I really like to test things out as if I was a person who is buying this and printing the PDF as it is. And so I'm gonna do it like this. But with the laminating, okay? Laminate the whole page, then cut, and then you put the T back in to the laminator. I'll show you this better, but this trick works. Don't worry about, you know, the sides like peeling or anything like that. I have not had that issue at all. So I kind of do this way now since I switched over, and I feel like it saved me a bunch of time. So all the laminating is done, and what I wanted to show you was that old Gina would have cut this up, right? Because this is all this excess that we don't need, but no. So keep it on so that when you staple this to your bulletin board, you're gonna staple through the laminate at the top and that spot on the bottom, on the sides there. And that way you're not actually puncturing your poster. So that, let's say in the future you need to relaminate this or you're gonna put it up again, you're not punching through your poster and possibly ruining it, but you're just doing it through the top of the laminate. So I'll show you that tomorrow. I've got all the letters done, and I showed you, sorry my hand is blocking that, but I showed you with the T how to laminate it again basically, but they all turned out super great, and I'm really excited to put up this bulletin board at school. So I'll take you guys with me and show you as much as I can with putting this up in one of the hallways and what the final bulletin board looks like. Good morning. So I am at school and ready to put up my bulletin board. Let's go. That wasn't centered, so it's gonna bother me. Just want to show you this last staple here. See how nicely you can staple on that edge that we didn't cut, and then you're not ruining the poster. I gotta fix that top, but there we go. That's the bulletin board all put together. Not really in love with this huge space here, so I might print out more of those leaves and just put them in there. Maybe a little more to put around, but we're almost there. I'm literally sitting here editing this video, realizing that I just like never finished it, never filmed an outro. So here it is. Some updates on the bulletin board. I didn't end up adding any other musicians. I kind of said that throughout. And with the printing, I ended up reprinting 2 posters for like my Instagram post because when I laminated them, they were just like too shiny for photography, and realized that I think it was just my parents' printer that was printing everything super dark, because when I printed it on mine, everything looked beautiful. So I didn't end up having to do any updates there either. The colors are great. I'm rambling, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for going with me on this journey of putting up a bulletin board. Honestly, you were watching this video and probably thinking that looks like a lot of work, but it is so much fun. I personally love seeing all of the walls, like in my classroom or in the hallway, just filled with something fun and beautiful to look at. And I feel like it just brightens up the hallways and brightens up people's days. So that's why I do what I do. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day and a great week, and we'll see you next time.